Welcome to Budget Beauty, where I help you look flawless for less. Welcome back, and a very special welcome if you're new here. My name is Jen, and this is Budget Beauty. We do everything beauty on a budget, and that includes lots of tutorials, reviews, first impressions, and today we are going to be using for the very first time a new palette to my collection from my all-time favorite indie brand, Unearthly Cosmetics, and that is the Bunnies palette. Now, this is a reformulation. She did release this palette once before. She went ahead and reformulated the shades, changed up the shades, and when it was released the first time, I did not pick this palette up. So as soon as I saw that she re-released it, I immediately clicked add to cart. Unearthly Cosmetics is an indie brand, which is an independently owned brand. My all-time favorite indie brand. Her shadows, her formula cannot be beat. I actually own every single palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. So the Bunnies palette absolutely had to make its way into my collection. I'll go ahead and insert some footage here of the unicarton that the palette came in, as well as a close-up of the cover. You can't beat the artwork. It is absolutely stunning. I know that she utilizes a small business, independent artist to create the artwork for her palettes, which I really appreciate. The palette does have a mirror, and there are 6 shimmers and 6 mattes. So it's a very equal distribution of shimmers and mattes. We have a lot of color options in here: blues, oranges, purples, this mustardy greeny yellow, greens, and pinks. There is a matte and a shimmer for all of the different shades. You can make absolutely stunning, colorful looks with this palette. You could even go a little bit more neutral, utilizing the oranges, the greens, and the greeny yellow color. So totally up to you what type of look you want to create. It's swatched, as always, absolutely beautifully. The shimmers are chef's kiss gorgeous. The mattes are buttery soft. I can't wait to put this on my eyes. So if you're excited to see my first impression, review, and tutorial using the Unearthly Cosmetics Bunnies palette, give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and your bell notification is turned on because I upload lots and lots of videos every single week. I will go ahead and link the Bunnies palette down below for you, as well as all of the other makeup that I'm wearing today, and of course, my favorite beauty subscriptions. Last but not least, come on over, follow me on TikTok for more beauty on a budget. So I can't wait to put the Bunnies palette on my eyes. So I have all of my base makeup done, foundation, I've set my face, bronzer, highlighter, blush. Again, everything on my face will be linked down below, but I am going to go ahead and set my eyes, as always, with my MAC Paint Pot in Painterly. For me, using an eyeshadow primer, like I always say, prevents creasing, and it also helps my shadow last all day, and really, in my opinion, brings out the true pigmentation of the shadows. I'm actually really happy that there's a mirror in the palette, so I can go ahead and use that to apply the shadow. So now the hard part. The hard part is, which of these beautiful shades do I want to use in today's eye look? I feel like I really love all of these shades. I think they're absolutely stunning. I'm thinking because this is a more colorful palette, it veers on maybe a little bit more of the pastel, rich pigment side. I'm going to create more of a colorful look because I really want to test out the formula and use as many shadows as possible. So I'm going to start with the shade Ribbon, which is this gorgeous pink in the corner, and I'm going to use that on the outer third of my eye. This is one of the darkest shades in the palette, so it's going to add that depth that I like in my outer corner. I really, really like to add that depth. I think that it just enhances the eye look, and like I said, just adds some depth that I think is needed for most looks. That is gorgeous and went on absolutely beautifully, like I expected from Unearthly. And like I said, I'm just focusing that in the outer third of my eye, that outer corner. I am bringing it just a little bit, as you can see, onto the lid as well, and a little under the lower lash line. Next up, I'm going into the shade Spring, which is this beautiful green. I love a good green. And this is kind of a yellowy green. It's definitely not your traditional grass green, but it is so beautiful. Wow, that is kind of a grungy green, which is interesting in this palette, but it goes perfectly. But it's interesting that in this Bunnies palette with all of these really pretty bright pastel pigmented shades that we have this more grungy green. But I love it. I am definitely here for it. Look how pretty that is. I mean, that is so fun. I absolutely am loving it. For the inner third of my eye, I have to use this purple called Jelly Bean. Like I always say here on my channel, purples are really hard to formulate. Most purples end up being either not pigmented or very patchy, but that is not the case. It's definitely not the case with Jelly Bean. This is mega pigmented. Look at that. And it is not patchy at all. None of the Unearthly shadows I have ever used, even the deepest of the deep purple shades that are even harder to formulate, are never patchy. I've never ever had a patchy shade from Unearthly. That purple is also super beautiful. And then with a big, huge, fluffy brush, I'm going to go into the shade Chick, which is the yellow, and I'm going to use that shade to blend everything together. So what I like to do is kind of tap on my brow bone right above the other shades, the purple, the green, and the pink, and then I just blend that out. I always like to use a lighter shade to blend out the edges. That way it looks more seamless, blended, and there's not that harsh line above the colors. This yellow shade, I really like this yellow shade Chick as well. How fun is this? It's so colorful, so much fun. I have to pick a shimmer for my lid. I usually will do two different shimmers, one kind of on the outer corner of my lid and one on the inner corner, and then a third shimmer for an inner corner highlight. So I'm thinking, because I have pink, green, purple, and yellow, I'm going to start with the shade Grass is Greener, this really pretty green shimmer. Look at that. That is so beautiful. And I'm going to use my finger. I am not using any glitter glue, and I'm going to apply that onto my lid, focusing on the middle and the outer portion of my lid. This green shade, holy moly, is she beautiful. I mean, look at that. That is absolutely stunning. I can't believe how shimmery and reflective this shade is. I have to say, this is one of the prettiest green shimmers I've ever used. Now, using a brush, because I always like to test out my shimmers both with my finger and a brush, I'm going to use the shade Tulip, which is this super pretty pink shade. You can see that picked up really nicely on the brush, and I'm going to focus that on the inner portion of my eye, and then I always blend that in with the other shimmer just so that they blend together really nicely. That's really pretty. It's definitely a light pink. I see more of a icy pink than actual pink, if that makes sense. It's more of a white pink, which is perfect for the inner corner. It really highlights that, adds that little bit of depth and dimension. And then before I do my lower lash line, all of the colors on the different brushes, not adding any additional shadow to the brush, but just tap in and make sure my color for all three shades is where I want it to be. And again, I'm not picking up any shadow. I'm just using what's already on the brush, tapping that in to add that extra pigment. I don't have any fallout, and there's no kick up in the pan. I don't find that I ever have fallout or kick up with Unearthly. Now, before I do my lower lash line, I'm going to use the blue shimmer in the palette called Clear Skies. Oh, it's so pretty. And I'm going to put that on the inner corner. Ooh, that is gorgeous. Look at how beautiful that is. Ooh, that is a beautiful blue shimmer. I went ahead and cleaned that same dense brush off that I used for the shimmers, and let's do my lower lash line. So I want to pull in the same colors that I used on my crease. So I have the shade Ribbon, Jelly Bean, and Spring. So we're going to start with Ribbon, since that's the shade in the outer corner, and pull that a third of the way over under my lower lash line. And that just blends the lower lash line in with that outer corner. And then going into Spring, the green shade, I'm going to apply that right in the middle. And then finishing with the purple Jelly Bean on the inner portion of my lower lash line. So I use the same colors as I have in my crease in the same order. So the pink, the green, and the purple. And then lastly, one more time into that clear sky shade, that blue shimmer. Oof, I really love that. And I'm going to just use that to pull a little bit more under my lower lash line. I love a good shimmery lower lash line. So here is the eye look. I love it. I'm going to apply some liner, mascara, and I'll be back to share the completed eye look, and we'll go ahead and do our lips together. So here is the completed eye look. This is so beautiful. I love it. It gives me spring vibes. It gives me summer vibes. Really, you can wear whatever eyeshadow you want all year round. I really, really, really love this look. It's a little more pastel-y, light, airy, colorful. I love it. So what I decided to do rather than my traditional liquid liner, winged liner, is I did use a liquid liner just to add a little bit of a wing on the end, but I used my Essence Extreme Last Kohl liner and I tight lined so that I would have that depth of the black without using liner, because the shadow is so pretty. I didn't want to take away with that. I didn't want to take away from that with liner, but for my particular eye shape, I do need something to draw my eye out. So I did apply a very small wing. And then in my waterline from Juvia's Place, I have the shade Royal, which is this kind of blurple shade. And I think that that pairs really nicely with the eye look. And then for mascara, I have the ColourPop Act Natural. Honestly, this is my very favorite mascara. I find that it gives me a ton of volume, length, and blackness. I love it. So I'll make sure all of this is linked down below for you as well. So I'm going to line my lips with the Buxom lip liner in Powerline. I love Buxom products. I love their plumping glosses, their lip liners. All of their products are such good quality. And this lip liner is so incredibly creamy. It just glides on. Isn't that such a beautiful shade? I really love the Buxom lip products. And then I'm going in with the Tarte Maneater Plumping Lip Gloss. I am not using a liquid lip today. I really want my eyes to be the focal point, to stand out. So I'm going very simple with a liner and a lip gloss. I also love this pink shade. It is neutral, so it goes with everything. This is a plumping gloss, so it has a little bit of a tingle, but totally reasonable, and it lasts a long time. The longevity of this is really, really good. So I'll link both the Buxom liner and the Tarte Maneater lip gloss down below. So let me go ahead and zoom you out, and let's go over my final thoughts on the Unearthly Cosmetics Bunny Palette. Done my hair yet today, but I have to share my final thoughts with you on the Unearthly's Bunnies palette. As always, 100% impressed. I love my look. Every single matte, every single shimmer, extremely easy to use. The shimmers are very, very foiled. They pick up perfect on a finger, perfect on a blush. The mattes are buttery soft, and what I love about the mattes is they are not patchy and they're layerable, which says a lot for a lighter, more pastel type of matte. Usually if you try to layer them or blend them, they just blend away to nothing, and not Unearthly Cosmetics. We have pigmentation and blendability and layerability. I really, really love how my eye look turned out. I think it's beautiful, it's colorful. Again, it's perfect for spring, summer, or any time of year. So as always, with every Unearthly palette I have tried, I have a glowing recommendation that you go ahead and pick up the palette. I also appreciate the mirror in the palette. That is very helpful if you want to take it for travel, or if you're someone who gets ready somewhere in your home that doesn't have a mirror. It's nice to always have a mirror in the palette. So I'll make sure that the Bunnies palette is linked down below, again with all of the other makeup that I'm wearing today, my favorite beauty subscription boxes, and of course come on over, follow me on TikTok for more beauty on a budget. As always, once again, no surprise, Unearthly hit it out of the park with the Bunnies palette.